Boy, do we got some things to talk about for what went down in the NFL Week 5 matchups. But before we get to that, as usual, I want to touch a little bit more on the Eagles matchup. Big win against a bad team. Yeah, that's how I'm looking at this. Beating the Saints, more than doubling the amount of points they scored. I don't care who you're playing in this league, when you unleash a 39-point ass whooping like that, that is a good, solid win. And there's nothing to be ashamed of from that, no matter who the opponent is. And right off the bat, so many people start saying to me, like, oh, it's not a big win. The Saints are one of the worst teams in the NFL, blah, 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 like saying all this shit. I'm like, did you watch my video? I said numerous times in my reaction video that the Saints are an awful team. The Saints are an awful team that beat the Cowboys the week before, all right? Just don't lose that in your mind. They're an awful team that had one win against the Dallas Cowboys. That's it, all right? They're a bad team that beat the Cowboys, all right? How many times do I have to say that? They're a bad team that beat the Dallas Cowboys, all right? There, that's established. As for the game itself, saw a lot of good positive things out of this game. Number one, the variety that's being done at the quarterback position right now. And by that I mean bootlegs, play action. Now granted, this ain't exactly a world beater defense, pass rush, or anything like that you're getting out of New Orleans. But you could see the confusion that was caused rather than just having straight either in shotgun, passing, lining up under center, handoff, no play action, no bootlegging, nothing like that you saw up through the first 3 weeks. You saw a little bit of a change up in week 4, but now in week 5 you saw an absolute philosophy change for how Chip Kelly is running this offense. You saw the mix-up of very, very good utilization of both Matthews and Murray in the backfield. And it worked. It worked. Another thing that I like, even though they were both failed plays, was going for it on that. It was like a 4th and 7 and a 4th and 9 at the beginning of the game. Once you're at midfield, go for it at this point. I mean, you're a 1-3 team. You gotta go for something that looks like somewhat like you're willing to take charge of a game. Now granted, the two fatal flaws in both those 4th down plays was throwing the ball to Riley Cooper each time. Now I know the balls weren't exactly catchable or anything like that, but why you would target Riley, piece of shit bag Cooper, both times on 4th down plays, I don't know. Anyways, I hate him. But Huff, we saw a Josh Huff appearance. We saw a couple Josh Huff appearances. Now, granted, his touchdown was only so much credit to him. You have two Saints defenders running into each other, literally knocking each other down, and Huff doing like the little flip like he's some sort of hot shot. Granted, I know you're excited that might be one of your only SportsCenter highlights of the year, but act like you've been in the end zone before. Granted, that's a few times that, but so whatever. It was a good play. It was nice to see someone like him show that he has an ounce of a heartbeat on this team offensively. And who knows if we're going to see more from him, because a lot of people have given up on him. I'm all just like, he has flashes of good, but he has a lot of flashes of bad from last year where he had trouble holding on to the ball, didn't fumble the ball. And one other thing I want to say is, as much as I was down on this team in the first half, you have to be impressed with how much the defense held this game intact. Now, granted, it was a very miserable 3-point lead going into halftime for a team that threw 2 interceptions in the red zone. Sam Bradford threw 2 interceptions in the red zone, and you had 2 turnovers on 4th down. That's 4 turnovers in one half of football. And you go into halftime with the lead. Even though it was only 3 points, you have the lead after turning the ball over 4 times. Again, I don't care how shitty the Saints are or not, or how they've only beat the Dallas Cowboys this year. That is impressive to have a lead going into the half when you turn the ball over 4 times. And that is a credit to the defense and how they're locking things down. because you get 4 extra series or 4 earlier than expected series from the defense to have to go back on the field to play against the offense. I just, it really didn't come together in my mind until I sat back and looked at it. I was like, damn, that's actually kind of impressive. Even though it was only 3 points, they had the lead going into half and they turned the ball over 4 times. That's actually pretty goddamn impressive, even though it was the Saints who have only beaten the Dallas Cowboys this year, and that's the only team they've managed to beat. Anyway, it was a good win. It was a good win, and you have a Washington loss, another Dallas Cowboys loss. By the way, that's 3 losses in a row for that squad that is, we don't care if Dez or Tony are out. We're going to throw off a few wins. We don't need them. And frankly, Dez and Tony aren't the reasons you guys are losing in Dallas. I hate to break it to you. But let's not get into that till we go over the scores of certain games here. Anyways, that's it for my Eagles recap. Let's get into the Week 5 review. Starting off with Indianapolis at Planet Houston. Well, Mallett was in the game. Got a cheap shot penalty. Took a helmet to the ribs. I forget the linebacker on the Colts. Anyway, Mallett comes out. Hoyer comes in. Hoyer starts playing well. And then throws an interception at the end of the game to fuck over the Texans. All of a sudden, Indianapolis, look at that. Just like last year, they go from 0-2 to 3-2. Just like that. Sorry, it was a weak snap because I got to use my right hand, not my left hand. Anyway, 27-20. Planet Houston loses to the Indianapolis Colts, formerly the Baltimore Colts, that packed up the Mayflower trucks in the middle of the night and drove their asses to Indy. New Orleans losing to the Eagles 17-39. We went over that ad nauseum. Overtime. 25-19. Atlanta just barely pulling out. I had a heart attack in this game. Man, when Washington hits that field goal going to overtime, it was like 51 yards. I'm like, no way. No way. And it just goes to show you that Atlanta, and people may see this and another win that I'm going to get to in a second here as weak wins, because it took scratching and clawing to the very end to beat a weak team. But here's the thing. Winning teams are going to have bad games. This was a bad game for Atlanta, at least defensively, to let Washington hang in this game and then claw back down to get into field goal range and hit a game-tying field goal to go into overtime. You're going to have good teams have bad games like this. The difference between a good team that plays bad and a good team that is really good is a good team will find a way to win. And they ended this game by throwing a dagger into Kirk Cousins' heart and taking that pick 6 to the house to ice this game in overtime. So, as maybe people see this and they're like, oh yeah, it took to overtime to beat the Redskins. That ain't impressive, Atlanta. I think that is damn impressive. That's their 5th win in a row, and they found a way to win. Winning teams do that. Good winning teams do that. Your good so-so team will just they let the team drive down to field goal range, and they let them drive down on their first drive in overtime and score a touchdown and ice the game. I'm sorry, but I'm leaning way more to the side that Atlanta is a real deal football team. And again, going back to what I said last week, this is the same Atlanta team on the field from last year, pretty much, other than new drafted pieces and a few free agents that they picked and swapped out from last season. But the only main difference is Captain Quinn is in charge right now, and it looks like how this team should look when they are coached well. Because I thought this was a much better team last year than what their final record showed they were. Anyways, I'm starting to lean a bit more to the side that Atlanta is the real deal. Watch out, they may start making some noise that gets a lot more people's attention. Oh my goodness, Joe Flacco has lost to the Cleveland Browns 1 time in his entire career. Make that twice. Another overtime, and that's the theme of this week, is overtime. Huge overtime game. This one just wipes out Baltimore's season. Week 5, the season is over for Baltimore because the Brownies came into town and beat them 33-30. Ouch, Baltimore. Ouch. And was that sun really just waiting to come out the second I started filming this video? Gotta get suntan lotion. Anyway, Baltimore, rest in peace. Not that you had much hope for the season coming into this game, but man, what just an abysmal season for Baltimore thus far. Speaking of overtime, Cincinnati winning at home 27-24 against the Seattle Seahawks. And don't look now, but the Seahawks have 3 losses. Arizona, are they going to run away with the West this year? Because it is sure as hell looking like it, but we'll get to Arizona in a second here. Talk about a cardiac kick to end the game. Oh my God, that field goal, that's about as close as you can come to, if that ball was a centimeter farther left, it would have hit the upright enough that it bounced out rather than ricochet in on through. Holy shit, I can just imagine everyone in Cincinnati had heart attacks the second that ball hit the upright. Oh my God. Anyways, impressive win for Cincinnati. As to who I feel a bit more impressed with right now, because there's the Patriots and then there's the Packers. No one's going to argue that they're the 2 best teams in the league. As far as who is the top of that second tier for the good teams right now, is it a Carolina? Is it an Atlanta? Is it a Cincinnati? Now, Carolina, it's hard to kind of throw them in because they had a bye week already, in Cincinnati and Atlanta didn't. To tell you, I mean, it may sound biased because I've seen them beat my team, but I'm leaning a bit more towards the Falcons being more of a real deal team. Mainly because I think Matty Ice is the better of the 2 quarterbacks there. I like the gingerbread man and all, but at least Matty Ice has won a playoff game. I guess that's a tiebreaker. Anyways, Green Bay, speaking of them Packers, 24-10 over the St. Louis Rams. That Green Bay machine just keeps chugging along. I feel sorry for anyone who's in their path right now. I just want to cut up this because I see what the game is next here on my scoreboard here. Can someone tell me if that's right? Can someone tell me if that's right? Does that say Chicago beat the Chiefs? Does that say Chicago beat the Chiefs 18-17? Oh, enjoy Andy Reid. Enjoy Andy Reid in Kansas City. My God. My God, did the coloring change on my camera when I put the phone up there? Anyways, wow. And one thing that's more amazing than the fact that the Bears actually won a game, let alone on the road, out of conference against the Chiefs, is that you didn't see Cutler have an interception. Like, how did that happen? Oh my God. Just wow. Jacksonville lost to Tampa 38-31. Gives a shit game of the week. Buffalo with a miraculous. This game was like 3-0 for like the entire game, it seemed. Buffalo comes out and wins 14-13 over the Tennessee Titans. Don't really care. Arizona played the Detroit Lions, and I think Detroit threw the ball, and I'm not even exaggerating. I think it was like 70 times that they threw the ball. It was either high 60s or 70 times. And you got 17 points to show for it. Now, granted, this is Arizona coming off of an abysmal loss. And, I was like, Detroit's at home. I was like, they should be due for a win, right? Oh, no way. This Detroit football team is just bad. And what makes it even worse is they're the only team without a win yet this year. Like that, like as if losing and getting curb stomped this bad wasn't bad enough. They still got to be the only winless team in football. Oh my God. Even the Ravens have won a game this year. Oh my God. Even the Raiders have won a game this year. But they didn't win against Peyton Manning. But another great game because he's not a washed up quarterback or anything. Anyways, Peyton Manning had 2 pretty good games in a row and showed you that, again, that he is just not the same quarterback. He looked like complete shit in this game. And the Denver Broncos defense beat the Oakland Raiders 16-10. Oh, what do we got next on tap here? The New England Patriots went into Dallas. Dallas, if you remember, that's the team last week that gave the New Orleans Saints their first win of the season. Everyone that's harping on the Eagles for how bad a team the Saints are and everything, it's like, well, they beat the Dallas Cowboys, did they not? Did they not? Well, but they don't have Tony, they don't have Dez. Really? Do Tony and Dez play on defense? Because last I remembered is Church missed an open field tackle that ended the game in overtime for New Orleans. Would Dez or Tony been on the field to make that tackle? Yeah, I know. The game probably would have been out of reach offensively if they were in the game. But the bottom line is a lot of the errors that are coming in on the Cowboys team have nothing to do pretty much because, frankly, this game aside from the Patriots, Whedon has not been playing that bad. If you think Whedon is playing that much worse than what you would have saw out of Romo against that game in Atlanta and the game last week against the Saints, I honestly don't think he is really that much of the reason why this team is losing. But, thanks for losing to the Saints because you made that Eagles win look that much more beautiful. And Dallas fans can't say anything about that. They can't harp on the Eagles or anything this week, saying like, oh, you played a shit team, man. You can't brag about beating a shit team. Beat you, motherfuckers. Speaking of who beat you, motherfuckers, this New England game. Now, if you Dallas fans are going to come out and tell me, oh man, we don't have Tony, we don't have Dez, oh man, our team has his two biggest superstars out. Did you see that fucking touchdown that Deion Lewis had? Did you see him ole 5 motherfuckers on his way to the end zone? Oh, you want to try and tackle me? You want to try and tackle me? Just embarrassed the whole... I felt so fucking dirty cheering as many times as I did in this game. But frankly, I don't know why these Dallas fans are convinced that Tony and Dez are the reason why this Dallas team is losing games. Your defense fucking sucks. Yeah, you beat the Eagles, and again, we'll see what you have to do against the Eagles when we play you in a couple weeks. But you had a team that had the Giants hand you a game by throwing the ball out of the end zone. You had an Eagles team that didn't even show up to play week 2. And frankly, your defense has done fuck all. They folded in that Atlanta game, and they didn't even show up in this Patriots game. Again, do Tony and Dez play on defense? Is that the reason why Lewis was dicking people in the face? Why Tom Brady was doing his thing? Why Gronk was pulling down passes like nobody's business? Fuck you, Cowboys. Oh my God, 30-6. New England does their thing. Tom Brady was helicoptering his dick the whole game. He was just sitting there in midfield going, woo, woo. Fuck you, Dallas. God, I'm so glad his team just shut the fuck up. And they're fucking fans. Oh my God. Oh, we got rings. Shut the fuck up. That is the only franchise in the world. Right here, their fans go, we got rings. As much shit as I've talked against the Denver Broncos, I haven't heard a single one of their Denver Bronco fans say, how many rings do the Eagles have? Look at the rings we got. Look at John Elway's last 2 rings. John Elway won 2 rings years after the Dallas Cowboys won any rings. And you don't hear Broncos fans popping off like little dickheads. Please, half the Cowboys fans that talk about that ring shit weren't even born the last time Dallas won a ring. Anyways, it's so glorious seeing that team get so fucking humbled. So fucking glorious. Speaking for things that are not glorious, the no good for nothing piece of shit motherfucking 49ers. You motherfuckers. You had this game won. If 49ers would have won this game, as ridiculous as this is to comprehend, the Eagles would have been tied for first place. And then would have been playing for sole possession of first place next week. Again, not that I'm expecting the Eagles to do anything this year, outside of win the NFC East in a real shitty year that is worth no acclaim. But it would be nice just to have something positive to go into next season with. That's how I'm looking at this Eagles season. Anyways, the good-for-nothing 49ers, who realize that you can't run the ball on this New York Giants team decide to finally start passing the ball in the second half and get success, only to die in the end and let the Giants come marching down and score and win the game. You fucking dicks. Pittsburgh beats the San Diego Superchargers in San Diego 24-20, helping to salvage any possible chance left at the Steelers and having a season that actually pulls out a few wins and gets a playoff spot. There's still a chance for them. Big Ben will be back in a couple weeks. Michael Vick threw the ball half as many times. Oh, sorry, I went through puberty there. Michael Vick went through for half as many attempts as Phillip Rivers did. The San Diego rushing game was completely irrelevant. I guess you guys should have held on to Ryan Matthews, but you didn't. Anyway, just an abysmal performance. Anyways, the bye teams last week were Carolina, Miami, Minnesota, and the Jets. That's why you didn't hear them scoring any touchdowns this week. Anyways, going in, Week 6 action, Atlanta at New Orleans. I have a bad feeling for Atlanta in this game. I really do. I think they're going to win the game, but I think this is going to be like a shaky type of game like you saw against Washington. I don't know. I just have a bad feeling. I think Atlanta is clearly the better team here. I know New Orleans is a tough place to play on the road and all that, but Atlanta is just a much better team. Again, like you saw with this New Orleans team last week, there's just no pass rush. It's an undisciplined team that commits penalties out the ass. And Drew Brees is just I know he had 300+ yards, but that was because they had to commit to throwing the ball halfway through the third quarter. So it's just, I think they ran the ball maybe twice, like 6 minutes into the third quarter because the Eagles upped the score so much. But I still see Atlanta winning this game. Cincinnati at Buffalo. Okay, Cincinnati, just relax, and you have nothing to worry about in this game. Just play your game, and you will beat this team, and I do believe you will beat this team. But Buffalo is kind of on the ropes right now, and they've got to come out with a win if they want to salvage any possible chance of the playoffs, but I don't see them doing it. I think Cincinnati is just going to end their season. Just end their season with a swift kick to the nuts. I see Cincinnati winning in blowout fashion. Denver at Cleveland. The Cleveland team looked very impressive last week, and Peyton Manning looked like utter shit. But I see Denver winning this game. And Denver is by far the most, and I didn't throw them in with the talk of like the Patriots and the Falcons and the Panthers and whatnot, because this team may be 5-0, but you can only rely on pick sixes to win games so often, and that's one of the main reasons why this Denver team, and terrible end game play from the Chiefs in that Week 2 game they had. Denver is, I would rank a number of teams that have 1 and 2 losses above Denver right now. Anyways, I still see Denver winning this game. I don't know. I think that was a fluke you saw from Cleveland last week, or just that Baltimore is that bad. Chicago at Detroit. Whoa! Wow! What a shit matchup. If Detroit doesn't win this game, they will not win a game the entire season. I'm picking Detroit to win because I don't think they are that fucking bad. They are not an 0-5 type team, or are they? Anyways, we're gonna find out that answer. I got Detroit winning at home. Houston at Jacksonville. Houston's favored in this game, but I think Jacksonville's been playing pretty decent ball as of late. Anyways, aside from when they got their doors blown off 2 weeks ago against the Patriots, but, you know, hey, that's the Patriots. Look for Jacksonville to win this game. Kansas City at Minnesota. I like Minnesota. I think Minnesota's playing good ball, but Kansas City's due for a win. I got this as an upset pick of the week. I got Kansas City winning on the road. I know Kansas City just lost. I know their running game is down and all that shit. I know. Okay. I got Kansas City still winning on the road. Fluky things happen to fluky teams. Washington at the New York Jets. The Jets, I guess. Who cares? Pittsburgh Arizona at Pittsburgh. Arizona. I don't know why I don't have confidence in Arizona. I just don't. I don't like Carson Palmer. I just don't. Okay? I don't. Arizona wins. Miami at Tennessee in the who gives a shit matchup of the week. Tennessee wins. Carolina at Seattle. Seattle's favored by 6.5 points. I think Carolina is going to go into Seattle. I don't care how tough it is to play in Seattle or not. I think Carolina is going to whoop that fucking Seahawks ass. Go Panthers. There, you happy at Camel Toes? San Diego at Green Bay. I have somewhat faith in the Chargers this week, but you let Michael Vick beat you last night. You let Michael Vick beat you last night, and you got no running game. Green Bay is going to beat the ever-loving piss out of you at Lambeau. It's going to be a 21-plus point rout. Baltimore at San Francisco for the battle of who is the shittiest team with the at least one win. Baltimore. San Francisco just completely folded. The first half of that game, well, I guess you can't fold. You fold in the second half, but just completely didn't show up in the first half of that game, and then folded on that final drive to let the Giants come back and win. Bloody hell. Oh, the Deflategate rematch. Sunday Night Football, New England at Indianapolis. Will Andrew Luck be back? I think they're going to find a way to get Andrew Luck back in this game, whether he's ready to play or not. I'm going to go New England. Not Indianapolis. I'm going to go with Indianapolis. Another upset pick of the week, just to make things interesting. I feel New England is due for a loss. But thank you for beating the Cowboys and shutting up that fucking fan base. Thank you, New England. I love you for 1 week, but fuck you now. And ending the week, New York Giants at Philadelphia. My pick for you a little bit later on this week. Just a brief update. I'm going to be out of state this weekend, so no live reaction video until Tuesday. Live taped reaction video until Tuesday. As far as what happens in the Eagles-Giants game. So look for that on Tuesday, not immediately after the game Monday night. Anyways, big week 5 of upsets, of overtime shockers, of fun, exciting football. And the Eagles won. I mean, that was one of the most enjoyable weeks of football in a long time. I love, again, even if it's not my team, I love seeing the Dallas Cowboys get murdered. I love seeing good overtime games. That was a fun week of football. Even if your team didn't do well, if you're a fan of the sport, I don't see how you couldn't love that week. Unless you're a Dallas Cowboys fan. If you are, fuck you. Anyways, as always, fuck the Dallas Cowboys. Have a good day, and I'll see you guys again on Tuesday, unless I make a video between now and then. Have a good day. Oh, I will. I'll be making the Eagles prediction video for the Giants. I'll still make that before I head out. Have a good day, everyone.